Hi there. Welcome to Learn English Every Day.
Here, you'll hear slow, clear English to help you learn with ease.
Let's begin.
So, look to your left.
Okay.
Now look to your right.
Right.
The research we're looking at today says those people are liars.
Wow.
And the person sitting in your seat, the person looking in the mirror, also a liar.
That's a very intense way to start our conversation today.
Oh, no, I know. But welcome back to the deep dive, everyone.
It's great to be here. And looking at this massive stack of research on my desk, I have to agree with your opening. The science definitely backs it up.
It really does. Today, we are exploring a skill that everyone needs, but very, very few people actually have.
Right.
The science of lie detection. And we're basing this whole discussion on the truly fascinating work of Pamela Meyer.
Yeah, her research is incredible. And I just want to mention, for you listening right now, if you're trying to learn English every day, this deep dive is absolutely perfect for you.
Oh, absolutely.
We are talking about human behavior, which is universal. It applies to everyone. But we're going to break down the psychology and the specific vocabulary into clear, simple English. So whether you are a business leader or just someone wanting to practice your listening skills with something highly motivating, this is going to be really useful.
Exactly. We're going to keep it clear, speak slowly, and just really get into it. But the mission today, just to be clear, isn't to make you paranoid.
No.
We don't want you looking at your friends and shouting liar at dinner. The goal is to understand human behavior and find the truth.
Right.
But before we get to the actual techniques of spotting a liar, we have to start with Meyer's core premise, because it completely changed how I think about deception.
It's a very surprising idea, honestly, because she says that lying is a cooperative act.
Cooperative? I mean, that means it takes two people.
Exactly.
Usually I think of a lie as something someone does to me, like an attack.
Yeah, that is how we usually feel when we get lied to. But Meyer argues that a lie actually has no power at all unless the listener chooses to believe it. Think about it. If you walk up to me and tell me you're the king of France,
Right.
and I just laugh at you, you haven't successfully lied. You've just told a joke.
That makes sense. A lie only works if I actively agree to be deceived by it.
Exactly. It's a transaction. And, that is a tough reality to accept because it means if you get tricked, you played a small part in it. You opened the door.
So we are complicit in our own deception.
They are.
And according to the data in the source, we're doing this constantly. I mean, the numbers here are just staggering.
They really are.
On any given day, a person might be lied to anywhere between 10 and 200 times.
Up to 200 times a day.
Yeah.
That is exhausting just to think about. And it starts fast, too. Meyer notes that when strangers meet, they lie 3 times within the first 10 minutes.
3 times in 10 minutes. But I can see that. It's usually small stuff, right? Like social lubrication.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, nice to meet you, or I love your shoes, or no, I'm not tired at all.
Right, we lie to be polite. But the data gets really interesting when we start looking at gender. Because men and women lie for very different reasons.
I saw this in the notes. It's fascinating. Men tend to lie about themselves.
They do.
The research says they lie 8 times more about themselves than they do about other people. It really seems to be about ego.
It is entirely about ego. Men often lie to bridge the gap between who they are and who they want to be.
Right.
They want to appear richer or stronger or smarter. But women tend to lie to protect other people.
Ah, so a woman might lie to make someone else feel better?
Yes.
Like saying, oh, that dinner you cooked was delicious when it wasn't. Or, no, you don't look bad in that outfit.
Seriously, it is about maintaining social harmony. Now, speaking of relationships, the statistics on marriage are actually quite encouraging.
I thought so too. I was happy to read that part. The research shows that unmarried couples lie to each other in 1 out of every 3 interactions.
1 in 3.
That is a lot of lying.
It's huge. But when you look at married couples, that number drops significantly. It goes all the way down to 1 in 10.
So marriage actually makes us more honest? Or maybe it's just too exhausting to keep lying to the exact same person for 20 years.
Probably a bit of both. You eventually just get real with each other. But outside of the home, lying has a massive cost. We aren't just talking about hurt feelings here. We are talking about serious money.
The financial impact is huge. In the United States alone, corporate fraud costs about $997 billion a year.
Yeah.
That is almost $1 trillion. It's like 7% of total revenue.
And we're seeing this in the famous cases Meyer mentions in her talk. Places like Enron, Bernie Madoff, the whole mortgage crisis.
Right.
These weren't just little white lies. These were massive deceptions that literally destroyed people's life saving.
And that brings us to the psychology of why we fall for it in the first place. There's a really great quote in the research from a master con man named Henry Oberlander.
Oh, yeah.
He was apparently incredibly effective at tricking people. Like, you couldn't even find him on Google. He was that slippery.
Oberlander was a genius at deception, and he had a rule. He said, everyone is willing to give you something. They are ready to give it to you for whatever it is they are hungry for.
Hungry for, and he obviously doesn't mean hungry for food.
No, he means emotional hunger. We all have a gap in our lives, a gap between who we are right now and who we wish we were.
Yeah.
We wish we were richer or more successful or better looking.
So when a liar comes along and says, hey, I can make you rich or I can make you famous, we believe them because we just want it to be true so badly. We are hungry for that reality.
Exactly. We desperately want the magic solution. So the first step in spotting a liar isn't actually looking at them. It is looking at yourself.
Wow.
You have to know your own hunger. If you know what you are desperate for, you are much harder to trick.
That is such a powerful insight. Self-awareness is the best defense. Now, let's talk about when this behavior actually starts. Is lying something we just learn in school from other kids?
Oh, no, not at all. It starts much, much earlier than that. In fact, learning to lie is considered a developmental milestone.
Really?
Yeah. It is a sign that a child's brain is growing correctly.
The timeline the source gives is pretty funny. It starts with babies. They fake cry.
Yes, they do.
They cry, they pause, they check to see if mom is looking, and then they go right back to screaming.
That is a lie. They are manipulating you for attention. And it progresses. By 1 year old, they learn concealment like hiding things. By 2, they learn how to bluff.
Right.
By 5, they lie outright. And by 9, they are masters of the cover-up.
And by the time they are in college, the research says they lie to their mothers in 1 out of every 5 conversations.
Sorry to all the mothers listening right now.
Yeah, sorry, Mom.
But this really just proves that lying is complex. It requires intelligence. Meyer explains that the larger the neocortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for reasoning, the more likely a species is to be deceptive.
Which perfectly explains the story of Coco the gorilla. This is my absolute favorite example in the whole study.
It is hilarious. So Coco was this gorilla famous for learning sign language. She was incredibly smart.
Right.
But one day, she completely lost her temper and ripped a heavy steel sink right out of the wall in her enclosure. Just destroyed it.
And when her trainers came in and asked her, Coco, who did this? She signed back. The cat did it.
Yes. She had a tiny little fluffy pet kitten, and she tried to blame this tiny kitten for ripping a steel sink out of a wall.
It is ridiculous, but it shows she had the cognitive ability to shift blame. She was actually smart enough to lie.
Exactly. Evolution made us good at lying. But the good news is evolution also gave us ways to spot it.
Yes, and this is where we get to the practical tips. Meyer breaks this down into two main categories: verbal clues and body language clues.
Let's start with the verbal clues. What are the specific words liars use? We have a very famous example from the research to look at here. Bill Clinton.
Everyone remembers the moment. He was on national television denying an affair. He said, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky."
To the untrained ear, that sounds very firm, very convincing. But Meyer says it is actually full of tells.
Tells, like clues.
Right. There are two big ones there. First, look at the grammar. He used very formal language. He said, "I did not" instead of "I didn't."
And that is a great tip for our English learners tuning in. Usually in casual, honest conversation, we use contractions. We say didn't, can't, won't.
Right. But when someone is lying, they often try to sound extra emphatic. They want to be perfectly clear. So they stop using contractions. They say, "I did not do it." It sounds stiffer. It sounds rehearsed.
And the second clue was how he referred to her. He called her that woman.
Yes, we call that distancing language.
Distancing.
He didn't say Monica. He didn't say her. He used the phrase "that woman" to unconsciously create space between himself and the lie.
So if you're trying to spot a lie, watch out for formal grammar and distancing words. What about when people try really hard to convince you they are honest? You know, when someone starts a sentence with, "to tell you the truth."
That is a huge red flag. Meyer called it qualifying language. If someone says, "to be perfectly honest," or "in all candor," you should instantly be suspicious.
Because if they were really being honest, they wouldn't need to announce them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It weakens their credibility. Honest people just give you the facts. Liars try to sell you the facts.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we're listening for stiff phrases like did not and qualifiers like honestly.
Yeah.
Now let's move to the body, because this is where I think most people have the completely wrong idea.
Oh, absolutely.
If I asked a random person on the street, what does a liar look like? They would almost certainly say, "Oh, they fidget, they look nervous, they look away."
And that is a total myth. In fact, Meyer says liars often do the exact opposite. They freeze.
They freeze their upper bodies. Why is that?
It comes down to cognitive load.
Cognitive load.
Yeah, which is just a fancy way of saying brain power. Lying is really hard work. You have to invent a story. You have to remember the truth so you don't accidentally say it. You have to suppress your real emotions, and you have to constantly check if the other person believes you.
That is a massive amount of multitasking.
It is. Your brain is so busy doing all that heavy mental lifting that it actually stops sending normal signals to your body. You physically freeze up.
So don't look for the person who is fidgeting and tapping their foot. Look for the person who is strangely still.
Exactly.
And what about eye contact? We always hear the phrase, liars can't look you in the eye.
Another complete myth. A good liar knows that you expect them to look away. So what do? They overcompensate. They look you in the eye too much.
They stare.
Yes. They lock eyes with you. They stare a little too hard and a little too long. They are trying so hard to prove they are honest, but it just feels unnatural.
That is creepy. So look for the person staring you down without blinking. Now let's talk about smiling. Meyer says you can spot a fake smile if you know exactly where to look.
You can, because we all know how to fake a smile with our mouths. You just pull your lips up, but you cannot easily fake a smile with your eyes.
A real smile has to engage the eyes.
Yes. When you are genuinely happy, the muscles around your eyes contract automatically. You get those little wrinkles in the corners. We call them crow's feet.
Meyer actually makes a pretty funny joke about Botox here.
She does. She points out that if you use too much Botox, which literally paralyzes those muscles to stop wrinkles, nobody's going to trust you. Because physically, you cannot look honest. Your eyes can't crinkle.
So if the mouth is smiling broadly but the eyes are completely dead, be careful.
Right.
Now, Meyer introduces some advanced vocabulary here. I want to make sure we explain these clearly for everyone practicing their English. The first term is duping delight.
Duping delight. So to dupe someone means to trick them. So this is the delight or the happiness of tricking someone.
What does that actually look like on someone's face?
It is a micro-expression, meaning it happens very, very fast. It's a tiny, unconscious smirk or a quick smile that flashes across a liar's face.
Why do they smile if they're lying about something serious?
Because they think they are getting away with it. It is a moment of pure pride, like, I fooled them.
Wow.
If you are asking someone about a serious problem, like a theft at work, and you see a quick flash of a smile, that is duping delight.
Wow. Okay, the second term she uses is incongruence. This is a pretty big word, but the concept is actually quite simple. It basically means things don't match.
Right. It means the words say one thing, but the body says the exact opposite. Meyer gives the example from the research of the politician John Edwards.
Right, he was asked by reporters if he would take a paternity test to prove he wasn't the father of a certain child. And he said, yes, I would be happy to.
But if you actually watch the video of him saying it while his mouth is saying yes, his head is clearly shaking no.
His body was linking the truth.
Exactly. And he also did this tiny little shoulder shrug. That is incongruence. When the body contradicts the words, always believe the body.
Sigmund Freud, the famous psychologist, had a really great quote about this phenomenon. He said, "No mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips."
Meaning, the truth always finds a way out. We just have to be watching closely for it.
There's one more facial expression we need to cover. Meyer says this is the most dangerous one of all.
Please don't do that. You won't have any friends left. The goal isn't to play gotcha and point fingers at people. The true goal is to build trust.
Because when you can spot deception, you can navigate your life so much better. You can avoid bad business deals. You can address problems in your relationships before they turn into that toxic contempt we talked about.
And most importantly, you can clearly signal to people that you value the truth. Meyer suggests being explicit about it. Tell people, in my world, we tell the truth.
It sets a standard. People are way less likely to lie to you if they know you highly value honesty and that you are paying attention. But she leaves us with a final challenge for the modern world. We live in the age of social media. We are constantly sharing everything.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We share our breakfast, our vacations, our daily workouts. But Meyer warns us, oversharing is not honesty.
That is such a good point. Just because you are loud on the internet doesn't mean you are being authentic. In fact, all that noise can just be a way to hide the truth.
It is very easy to curate a fake life online. It is easy to lie when you aren't actually looking someone in the eye.
So the challenge she leaves us with, and the challenge we leave you with today, is this. Are you willing to be the person who values truth over noise?
Because if you commit to being that person, the world around you actually changes. You stop accepting the lies. You start building real, authentic connections.
And that is a really powerful place to be. It really is.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's deep dive. We covered a lot of ground today. We learned some great new terms like cognitive load, duping delight, incongruence, and contempt.
These are excellent words to add to your English vocabulary. If you missed any of them, just listen to the deep dive again. Repetition is the key to learning.
Go out there, look people in the eye, but remember, not too hard. and seek the truth. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.
Please don't do that. You won't have any friends left. The goal isn't to play gotcha and point fingers at people. The true goal is to build trust.
Because when you can spot deception, you can navigate your life so much better. You can avoid bad business deals. You can address problems in your relationships before they turn into that toxic contempt we talked about.
And most importantly, you can clearly signal to people that you value the truth. Myers suggests being explicit about it. Tell people, in my world, we tell the truth.
It sets a standard. People are way less likely to lie to you if they know you highly value honesty and that you are paying attention. But she leaves us with a final challenge for the modern world. We live in the age of social media. We are constantly sharing everything.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We share our breakfast, our vacations, our daily workouts. But Meyer warns us, oversharing is not honesty.
That is such a good point. Just because you are loud on the internet doesn't mean you are being authentic. In fact, all that noise can just be a way to hide the truth.
It is very easy to curate a fake life online. It is easy to lie when you aren't actually looking someone in the eye.
So the challenge she leaves us with, and the challenge we leave you with today, is this. Are you willing to be the person who values truth over noise?
Because if you commit to being that person, the world around you actually changes. You stop accepting the lies. You start building real, authentic connections.
And that is a really powerful place to be. It really is.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's deep dive. We covered a lot of ground today. We learned some great new terms like cognitive load, duping delight, incongruence, and contempt.
These are excellent words to add to your English vocabulary. If you missed any of them, just listen to the deep dive again. Repetition is the key to learning.
Go out there, look people in the eye, but remember, not too hard. And seek the truth. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.
Please don't do that. You won't have any friends left. The goal isn't to play gotcha and point fingers at people. The true goal is to build trust.
Because when you can spot deception, you can navigate your life so much better. You can avoid bad business deals. You can address problems in your relationships before they turn into that toxic contempt we talked about.
And most importantly, you can clearly signal to people that you value the truth. Myers suggests being explicit about it. Tell people, in my world, we tell the truth.
It sets a standard. People are way less likely to lie to you if they know you highly value honesty and that you are paying attention. But she leaves us with a final challenge for the modern world. We live in the age of social media. We are constantly sharing everything.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We share our breakfast, our vacations, our daily workouts. But Meyer warns us, oversharing is not honesty.
That is such a good point. Just because you are loud on the internet doesn't mean you are being authentic. In fact, all that noise can just be a way to hide the truth.
It is very easy to curate a fake life online. It is easy to lie when you aren't actually looking someone in the eye.
So the challenge she leaves us with, and the challenge we leave you with today, is this. Are you willing to be the person who values truth over noise?
Because if you commit to being that person, the world around you actually changes. You stop accepting the lies. You start building real, authentic connections.
And that is a really powerful place to be. It really is.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's deep dive. We covered a lot of ground today. We learned some great new terms.